Alright, so obviously snaring deer, very illegal, very illegal. Don't do it, but if you were to do it, hypothetically, and you're setting your snares on the trails like I showed you in the video from way back when on my YouTube channel, you know, about a 2-foot loop, center of the loop should be about 3 foot high or so, the center of it, not the bottom, the center. Obviously, that'll catch deer, believe me. Deer are the only animal easier to snare that I know of is woodchucks and rabbits. They're easy to snare, but deer are pretty much just as easy. But with neck snares and trails, you're mostly going to catch does. The bucks walk behind the does to make sure no one's waiting to shoot him when he gets out to the field or whatever, and also to keep other bucks from coming up behind his woman and, you know, stealing his bitch. But the buck usually walks behind the doe, so you're mostly going to catch does and trail snares. There's exceptions, obviously, but if you want to snare a buck, obviously buck rubs like this where they scrape their horns against a tree is the spot to do it. You can set up like this on elk rubs and moose rubs too. Any antlered animal that rubs his horns up against trees, this works for. You just might need to adjust your materials. That is a 10-foot, maybe it's 8-foot, I don't know, 3/32 inch cable snare I made. I like the 8 and 10-foot lengths better than the standard 5-foot lengths that you buy off trapping supply stores and stuff, because as you can see, the nearest thing that'll hold a deer-sized animal, it's kind of far away. If I had a 5-foot snare, I might not be able to reach. With a 10-foot, I can reach. That's important. But obviously, there's a few different ways you can hang the snare. You can use, like I have long hair, strands in my hair. I could hang my snare, dry grass, or strips of bark, something weak that'll break. You can hang the snare on, or buy. A couple finishing nails driven into there would work, but I didn't have any of that, and I didn't feel like pulling out my own hair, so I just cut a couple grooves with the saw on my multi-tool that'll hold the snare. But when that buck comes in to rub his horns against a tree, it's easily displaced. You'll have him and he'll be attached to that. The loop size and the loop height, you can't really standardize that on something like this. Make it fit the location, and make sure you anchor off to something solid and have a well-built snare. 3/32 inch cable is pretty fucking strong. The buck that comes by here, he might be a spike that weighs 100 pounds, but he might be Old Golden. All big bucks are named Old Golden. 200 pounds, it might be a big motherfucker, so make sure you anchor it off well. But if you're out snaring deer, you might as well set up buck rubs and stuff too. Or you can always, if you're just after a buck, you didn't kill him during hunting season, you're running out of time, set up all the buck rubs in the area. Obviously, it's January. It's a little late to be doing this. This is a demonstration only. I'm taking the snare down. Not trying to do anything illegal, but that's how to snare a buck, basically. Yeah. Elk or moose or anything that rubs its horns on trees, it'll work for. But I have whitetail deer here, so buck rub.